So today, we're going to take a dive into Tour issue product, the king of golf balls, Titleist. We're going to talk about their secret golf ball that has been utilised by a few of the Tour players called the Left Dot Pro V1. All right, for those of you who are familiar with the old format of the ball test, it's been a while. I enjoy these ball tests. We have the 2025 Pro V1, my golf ball of choice, which is exactly why I'm really keen to do this test today. We have the Left Dot Pro V1, and we also have another golf ball that we're throwing into the mix, because the idea with the Left Dot Pro V1 is it's a lower spin option than the regular Pro V1 for those players who maybe need a little bit less spin, a little bit less long game spin, and want to retain that green side spin. That's what it offers the golfer out there, and a really, really obviously soft feel. So I wanted to add the AVX in there as well, because again, I just think it's good for you guys to have access to an option that is readily available, not sort of on occasion, sort of as a limited edition or limited release. So let's see how they all compare when we look at Pro V1, Left Dot Pro V1, and AVX in that order. Okay, good. All right, Left Dot Pro V1 next. Obviously, one of the key elements to this is going to be performance, but also feel. Something that Titleist really talk about as part of their ball fitting process is not just looking at what works on the launch monitor, it's also the feedback the player gets from the golf ball. Is that the desirable feedback? And between these three golf balls, I'm really curious because they do have different internal structures. There's a different casing in the Left Dot Pro V1 versus the Pro V1, and certainly different again in the AVX. And that's going to give us some different feel. Compression is going to be another sort of difference in these. Obviously, the one thing we're not able to test, and we always acknowledge that, the Left Dot Pro V1, 352 dimples on that one, slightly different dimple pattern that we're going to get on the other two golf balls as expected. That's what, again, creates different flight windows, not just the compression, the obviously core and the cover of the golf balls. Behind the head. If you want lower spin and softer feel, this is a great option. So really nice. I mean, you're going to get different performance, obviously, but it is really nice pitching with an AVX. Hey guys, I want to take a moment to highlight a fantastic opportunity from our partners here at TPC Toronto. As many of you know, their practice facilities are second to none. From one of the best outdoor ranges in the country to state-of-the-art indoor simulators and world-class instruction led by Braden Kreiderman. They've also recently developed outstanding on-site accommodations to complement their 3 championship courses, creating a true stay-and-play destination. Beginning this fall, they've taken it a step further with a new stay-and-learn program. This experience combines full-day coaching with Braden, premium accommodations, exceptional dining, and a number of added extras. In my opinion, this is one of the most effective ways to head into the off-season with a clear plan for improvement. You can find all of the details at ospreyvalley.com/academy. As a bonus for our audience, TPC Toronto is offering 15% off simulator rentals, lesson packages, and more. So simply use the code FGI15 when booking online, Now let's get back to the video. All right, full pitching wedge back into the Pro V1. Let's see what we get now. We're hitting some full shots. Strike. Solid. Definitely the best one so far. All right. Okay, guys, AVX. Let's see what we get out of this one. Really nice. If I had to pick one of them off field, it would be an absolute no doubt. It would be AVX. Zero doubt. Feels amazing. Okay, we're into the mid irons. The wedges are done. Biggest difference I'm seeing right now is biggest difference I'm experiencing right now is in feel. Like I said, I love the feel of the AVX off the wedges especially. I expect that to change a little bit as your priorities change when you look at different parts of your bag. I think feel and touch around the greens, the feeling that golf ball's coming softer off the face, feels like it gives you more time around the greens, gives you a little bit more of a cushion with regards to controlling your speed. But again, a lot of that is psychological. So as we change priorities towards a bit more distance, maybe that softer feel is less desirable. Nice strike. Turned a wee bit, which is fine. Okay, so let's start to see now as we look to the claim of the golf ball in the left dot, the specialty is the description of the performance would be that it gives you a lower long game kind of flight, a little bit of a flatter apex. Again, part of that will be in the cover and the aerodynamics, but let's see if the launch angle and spin rate contribute also. A little bit less spin. All right, that was left dot. That was nice. Okay, left dot. Okay, last but not least, AVX. All right, guys, the ball test, as always, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts, because my face is like a glazed donut. Every time I do these things, it's hard going. Nothing gets the old heart pumping like a good old-fashioned golf ball test. Okay, 50-yard shot. Pro V1 launched the lowest. AVX launched the highest. Interesting. But it kind of goes with the spin. So the high spin at the 50-yarder was the Pro V1. So again, probably a little bit of strike height on that as well. If we go to club data second there, Cody, just to keep ourselves honest on the delivered loft, there was about 0.8 of a degree between the first one and the last one. Really not that much, but back to ball again. We can see there is a difference with these golf balls. Even when you deliver under 1 degree of loft of difference, we can see a spin around the green difference of 12, almost 1,300, 12 and a half. Yeah, quite different at that exact yardage, but obviously feel is where I felt such a big difference. So there is definitely differences in the cover. Pro V1 spinning more than the other two. Our secret weapon, the left dot, spinning just a little bit less. And guys, this was the exact reason I added the AVX to this test. Because my sort of thought going into this was we would compare Pro V1 to left dot Pro V1, and there really wouldn't be that much of a difference. But if you want there to be less spin, if you desire less spin, go with AVX. That was the whole reason behind adding that one in. So, well, I think, that's a clear winner there for me is the Pro V1. Lower launch, more spin, really, really nice and standard deviation, nice and tight. That to me would be the most desirable numbers from a partial wedge shot. Into the full ones. You can kind of see from the trajectory that they are apex and very, very similar. Ball speed within half a mile an hour identical. We really worked hard there on the standard deviation of the delivered loft, the centerness of contact, etc. And as a result, ball speed is similar, launch angle identical. A little bit of a change there in roll reverse between Pro V1 and left dot. Again, back to why I added AVX in there, because I did think this could happen, that those two could be quite similar. And if you do want a lower spin golf ball, that's where AVX comes in. And that's exactly what we saw here. So very similar in terms of carry distance, but the AVX just sitting in that lowest window, actually slightly higher on the apex, but that was just because it was retaining a lot of speed and less spin. Okay, 7-iron. Again, we're trying so hard with the delivered loft. We had a specific number on delivered loft that we were trying to hit, and if I hit that, we would accept it. Yeah, so similar ball speed, similar launch. Pro V and left dot, kind of doing the same thing within, 20 or so RPMs. In that window, if you do want to lower it by 300 or 400 RPMs, you've got AVX, very similar in terms of the ball flight. And then the big dog. Left dot a little bit quicker. I did hit the left dot ones pretty well and see that with the tight circle. But in terms of speed, launch, and spin, I actually expected, I said to the boys beforehand, I thought AVX would be a bit slower than the other two. It didn't turn out to really be the case. Go to club data just to make sure. Okay, so club head speed was similar to the left dot. Not that bad at all. Yeah, back to ball. Good launch, good spin, carry distance, very, very similar. Yeah, even with AVX, the spin rate was sitting a little bit lower. So as we wrap this thing up, I think the golf ball that is more unique for those of you who are looking for lower spin out there actually is the one that's available 365 days a year from Titleist, which is the AVX. That's probably the secret sauce if you are trying to lower spin rate a little bit. Now, maybe just remember that we went from 8,300 spin from a half wedge shot to 7,000 spin. So that wedge spin, maybe another day we do that test, it's a tad closer, but it's going to be different. Maybe there's, 700 to, 1,000 RPMs of difference between those two. It's different enough. So if you want to make sure you have that spin, then that's something to bear in mind. But between a special release limited edition golf ball and again the 365 day a year available golf ball and the Pro V1 versus the left dot Pro V1, I think the Pro V1 is a suitable, close enough option to the left dot for those of you who are looking for that sort of middle of the road spin, because we know that Pro V1X sits above that in terms of peak height and spin, and compression's a little bit higher, etc., etc. So Pro V1 is what you are probably already looking for in the left dot, and you can get that all the time. Again, we're not testing aerodynamics, so there could easily be the argument here from an engineer at Titleist to tell us, but boys, the aerodynamics, the dimple pattern, that's going to be what changes the peak heights. Great, I absolutely trust them, implicitly that would be the case. But when we do what I'd call a dry test on the spin, the launch, and the speed, pretty darn close. All right. So for those of you who've been pining after the left dot and maybe making those expensive eBay purchases, I think they were going for certainly north of $100 a box at one point, and maybe even higher than that. Maybe come out from behind the sofa watching this one. So guys, let us know what your thoughts are. Was left dot something that was on your radar? And this has given you maybe a little bit of a different perspective on that with the relationship between the Pro V1 and the AVX versus what you thought the left dot would be. Would love to hear your thoughts. That's what this is all about. All right, stay tuned for more. We'll see you again soon.